In a land ruled by teeth and speed, there walked a creature built on patience. Not fury, not hunger, patience. Its plates rose like ancient stone towers. Its tail held 4 spears sharpened by time. And yet, it did not chase. It did not stalk. It simply moved through its world with a calm that larger beasts learned to fear. For the Stegosaurus was not a fighter by choice, but it was a survivor by design. And every shadow in its path knew better than to test the quiet strength it carried. The world around it was thick with green, massive ferns, towering trees, soft earth shaped by 1,000 footsteps. This was the Stegosaurus's kingdom, not of dominance, but of presence. When it walked, the ground trembled softly. When it fed, the forest bent gently to its will. And even in the calm, danger waited in the branches. But the Stegosaurus did not rush. It knew the forest would tell it everything it needed to know. All it had to do was listen. Even a gentle giant has enemies, and for the Stegosaurus, those shadows were always near. A hungry Allosaurus, a lurking Ceratosaurus, a pack of dry-mouthed hunters watching from behind the leaves. The Stegosaurus sensed them long before it saw them. A still branch, a wrong breath, a hush in the wind. These were warnings carved into its bones, and each time danger crept closer, the giant did not panic. It simply turned, slowly, carefully, letting its tail slide behind it like a waiting storm. Its plates were more than decoration. They were signals, messages, shields. A line of rising mountains that caught the light of the sun and warned the world that this creature was not as helpless as predators liked to believe. Each plate was fed with blood, alive, warm, bright. And when the Stegosaurus stood in the morning sun, the plates glowed faint red, as if the earth itself had set them alight. It was a beacon, a warning, a promise. I am peaceful, but I am not weak. Its tail was not lifted often, but when it did, the forest fell silent. 4 spikes, long, deadly, forged for one purpose, to end whatever dared to push this gentle creature too far. It was a weapon of last resort, a final answer, a closing statement in a language predators understood. And long ago, one hunter learned this lesson too late. Its bones buried in the soil, its ribs pierced from behind, its story carved by the silent anger of a Stegosaurus defending its life. Storm clouds rolled over the valley, thick and heavy, casting a dark curtain across the trees. The ground vibrated as herds shifted uneasily. And in the center of it all, the Stegosaurus stood still. Rain began to fall, soaking its plates, washing dust from its back, cooling its heavy breaths. But the trembling underfoot was not thunder. Something was moving. Something big. Something that had followed the giant longer than the storm had. And tonight, it would step into the open. From the shadows of the trembling trees, the predator finally emerged. Tall, lean, eyes bright with a hunger sharpened by days of failure. It had watched the Stegosaurus, measured it, waited for weakness. But tonight, the giant was alone. The herd had moved on, and the predator stepped closer, certain this would be the end. But it forgot one thing. The Stegosaurus had survived countless nights like this. It lowered its head, shifted its weight, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. The Stegosaurus lifted its plates toward the dim sky, a slow movement, deliberate, measured. A warning. One every hunter knew. One every wise predator obeyed. But hunger does strange things. It dulls instincts. It pushes fear aside. And so the hunter crept forward, ignoring the ancient signs. The raised tail, the shifting stance, the steady turn of the giant's body. It was a mistake carved into time. A mistake nature would never let it forget. The storm broke fully, Lightning lit the trees, revealing the two creatures locked in a moment older than the mountains. The hunter lunged, teeth flashing, claws slicing through the wet air. The Stegosaurus pivoted, slow, but not too slow, swinging its deadly tail behind it. The forest erupted with sound. A crack, a scream, a spray of rain and red. And when the lightning flashed again, the predator staggered back, one rib shattered by a spike the size of a sword. The battle was not over, but the message was clear. Wounded and shaken, the predator retreated into the dripping brush, its breath unsteady, its courage broken. Each step left a fading trail of red. Each groan echoed through the trees. And the Stegosaurus stood alone in the rain, chest rising slowly, plates steaming in the cool air. It did not chase. It did not roar. It simply turned back toward the forest, as if the attack had been nothing more than wind against its skin. The giant lived another night, not because it wanted a fight, but because it never ran from one. The forest dripped with fading rain, each drop falling like a slow heartbeat. The air cooled, the wind calmed, and the Stegosaurus walked forward, heavy steps pressing deep into the softened earth. No triumph, no fear, just calm. The kind that comes only after danger passes. Every creature nearby sensed the shift, the return of peace. And the giant made its way deeper into the night, guided by instincts older than the storm itself. Morning light crept across the valley, revealing the story written in the ground. Fern stems bent, footprints deep. A path carved by a body, built like a moving boulder. And any creature that followed this trail knew exactly who had passed through. The Stegosaurus didn't hide its presence. It didn't need to. The forest accepted its weight, its silence, its steady rhythm. And the path it left behind was less a mark of dominance and more a reminder of how deeply it belonged. Morning light crept across the valley, revealing the story written in the ground. Fern stems bent, footprints deep. A path carved by a body, built like a moving boulder. And any creature that followed this trail knew exactly who had passed through. The Stegosaurus didn't hide its presence. It didn't need to. The forest accepted its weight, its silence, its steady rhythm. And the path it left behind was less a mark of dominance and more a reminder of how deeply it belonged. Not all threats came from teeth on the ground. Some watched from above. Small creatures, quick ones, hungry ones, eyes glinting between branches, waiting for scraps, waiting for weakness. The Stegosaurus looked up, slowly, its plates catching the soft light. The watchers froze. Silence held them. Fear guided them. For even those tiny hunters knew, whatever brought the giant here, whatever it survived last night, made it something they should never test. And the shadows withdrew. A distant rumble rolled across the valley, not thunder, movement. Voices carried on the morning air. Low grunts, heavy breaths, bodies shifting together like a slow river of life. The Stegosaurus paused, listening. Its kind was near. Family not by blood, but by instinct. A safety older than the mountains. And with one turn of its massive body, the giant began the long walk toward the sound, toward its herd, toward the only protection greater than its own armored skin. The herd was waiting in a clearing, bathed in soft light. 5 adults, 2 juveniles, their plates rising like a jagged skyline. When the lone giant approached, the others shifted slightly, acknowledging it. Not welcoming, not rejecting, simply recognizing its return. A silent bond, a shared understanding. And the clearing filled with the gentle sound of massive bodies breathing together. A chorus older than language. The Stegosaurus was home. Time passed slowly in the clearing. Birds moved through the branches. Insects hummed above the ferns. The herd fed in quiet rhythm, heads lowering, plates brushing softly, tails swaying like heavy pendulums. There was no rush, no fear, only peace. The kind that can vanish in an instant and yet seems eternal while it lasts. The Stegosaurus closed its eyes for just a moment, letting the warmth settle across its back. In this world of giants and hunters, calm was the rarest gift. The ground shivered again. Not like the storm, not like the chase. This was deeper, older. A slow pulse beneath the earth, like something alive. The herd lifted their heads, all at once, listening, waiting. Even the wind paused. The tremor faded. Silence returned. But the Stegosaurus knew the truth. The land itself had moved, for reasons no creature could see. And somewhere far away, something massive had stirred in the world. Sun rose higher. Warmth returned. And the plates along the Stegosaurus's back glowed with soft color. Amber, deep red, clay brown. Not fire, not magic, just blood flowing through ancient canals. A living heat. A silent signal to the herd. Strength, health, presence. But the light also carried warnings, reflecting through the forest, catching the eyes of predators far beyond the clearing. The day was beginning, and not all who watched hoped for peace. The herd began to move again, slow steps, steady pacing, heads low to the ferns. They traveled not with fear, but with caution. A discipline learned over countless seasons. Every rustle mattered. Every shadow meant something. And the Stegosaurus matched their rhythm, a silent guardian walking among silent giants. In this world, movement was survival. Stillness was danger. And the herd followed paths carved long before any of them were born. Far behind them, hidden in the thick brush, another predator followed. Not the same as before. This one moved with more care, more hunger, more patience. Its breaths were slow. Its steps were deliberate. It wanted the weakest, the smallest, the last in line. But what it found instead was the steady pace of a creature that had not forgotten last night's battle. The Stegosaurus at the rear of the herd turned its head slightly, listening. And somewhere behind the ferns, the hunter froze. The forest grew still again. Not natural stillness. A forced one. A waiting one. Birds quieted. Leaves held their breath. Even the wind shifted to a whisper. The Stegosaurus halted, tail lifting ever so slightly. Not a threat. A promise. The predator crept a step closer, believing itself unseen. But the giant's senses were born from survival, not size. It knew. And in that fragile silence, the forest prepared for impact. The Stegosaurus pivoted. Slow. Precise. Deadly. Its plates flashed in the filtered light, marking its shape like warning flags. The hunter tensed, muscles pulling tight beneath thin skin. It had hoped for confusion, fear, retreat. Instead, it saw calm, unshaken strength. And as the giant turned fully toward it, the predator felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. A heavy kind. The kind that changes plans before claws even lift. Predators rely on speed, on timing, on certainty. And today, certainty failed. The hunter lunged too soon, breaking the silence with a desperate cry. Its claws sliced the air, its teeth snapped forward. But the Stegosaurus stepped aside, body swaying with a grace unwelcome in something so vast. The attack missed. A clean miss. A foolish miss. And in that single heartbeat of error, the predator realized it had chosen the wrong target. The tail lifted. Not fast, not slow, just enough. Held like a drawn bowstring, 4 spikes angled toward the trembling earth. The hunter's eyes widened, pupils shrinking. It understood. Every creature in the forest understood. This was the moment where choices ended, where instinct overruled hunger, where nature delivered consequences with quiet certainty. The Stegosaurus held its stance, breath steady, waiting, inviting the next mistake. Fear pushed the predator forward. A last gamble, a wild rush, claws tearing at the soil, jaws opening wide. The forest shook with the force of it. But the Stegosaurus was ready. It twisted its body, muscles rolling beneath heavy skin, tail slicing through the air with ancient precision. For a heartbeat, everything froze. The predator mid-leap, the tail mid-arc, the world holding itself still. Then impact came. A crack like thunder, a scream swallowed by the trees. The strike had found it. The predator stumbled back, breath fractured, body shaking. Blood darkened the ground beneath it. It did not roar. It could not. The forest watched, silent. The Stegosaurus lowered its tail, plates settling like tired sails. It took one step forward, not aggressive, not cruel, just certain. The hunter fled, limping into the shadows, its hunger lost to pain, and the giant turned away, its duty done. Peace always has a cost. The herd waited in the distance, circling the youngest among them. The Stegosaurus rejoined them, steps slower than before. Not wounded, just tired. Balance demanded energy, defense demanded strength, and the world demanded both from creatures that never asked for battle. The herd pressed close, a quiet acknowledgement. Together, they moved on, stronger than before. Hours passed. The smell of blood thinned. The heat rose, and the forest exhaled. Birds returned to the branches. Insects hummed again. Life resumed its rhythm. But the Stegosaurus remained vigilant, head turning with slow precision, reading the world through sound, through scent, through the tremble of soil beneath its feet. Predators come and go, but the memory of danger lingers in the air long after they leave. The herd followed a trail carved countless generations earlier, a route older than any living creature, a path known by instinct, not thought. It wound through forest, over stone, across dry riverbeds, and the Stegosaurus felt that pull. The weight of tradition, the comfort of familiar ground. Its ancestors had walked this same line, faced the same dangers, felt the same sun. The journey continued, not because they chose it, but because it was who they were. At last, the herd approached a shallow basin where water settled in the earth. Clear, still, ancient. The surface reflected the plates above it, turning giants into mirrored shapes. The Stegosaurus lowered its head, drinking slowly, carefully. Around it, the forest echoed with soft splashes as the others joined. Water like this was rare, precious. Every sip a quiet promise that life would continue, at least for today. Near the water's edge, half buried in sand, lay the remains of a fallen giant. Not fresh, not dangerous, just old. Plates cracked, bones pale, a life long ended. The Stegosaurus paused, studying it. Not with grief, not with fear, with recognition. A mirror of possibility, a reminder of the thin line between survival and memory. The herd moved on, but the giant lingered a moment longer, as if honoring the life that once walked beside its ancestors. You enter a clearing, and everything goes quiet. No insects, no wind, no breath. Just emptiness, hushed, hollow, a silence that feels intentional. This was killing ground, a place where noise served no purpose, where the only sound worth making was the final one. You feel your heart beat louder than it should be, because in this space, sound does not belong to you. It belongs to what once hunted here. High above, circling shadows drifted, creatures with sharp eyes and sharper hunger. They watched the herd from the sky, following their path, waiting for weakness, for opportunity, for a mistake. The Stegosaurus looked up, plates gleaming in the afternoon sun. The shadows faltered. Even scavengers knew that giants like these rarely fell without a battle, and they preferred easier meals. The shadows drifted away. A sudden gust swept across the valley, carrying distant scents. Fresh growth, cool water, open space. The herd lifted their heads. Their pace quickened. Nature itself was guiding them, whispering the direction forward. The Stegosaurus inhaled deeply, feeling the shift. The wind brought change, possibility, and danger. But it was a path worth taking. The giants followed it, hearts steady, minds calm. A dry stretch of land awaited them. Cracked soil, scattered stone, no cover, no shade. Predators loved places like this. Visibility was high. Escape was impossible. But the herd did not hesitate. They entered the dust field as one body, one movement, one living force. The Stegosaurus stayed near the edges, tail ready, plates raised. Each step stirred clouds of pale dirt, marking their passage. A dangerous crossing, but a necessary one. At the far edge of the dust field, a shape waited on a ridge. Tall, still, watching. Its silhouette sharp against the sky. The herd slowed. The Stegosaurus held its ground, reading the body language of the distant hunter. It did not move, did not charge, did not challenge. It simply watched, measuring, calculating. The giant lifted its plate slightly. A silent statement. The watcher blinked and stepped back behind the ridge. Beyond the ridge, the land changed. Massive trees rose like pillars. Branches spread wide, casting cool shade over soft ground. Relief washed through the herd. The Stegosaurus exhaled, feeling tension leave its muscles. Here, danger was hidden, but so was safety. The forest welcomed them with rustling leaves and filtered light. It was a place of balance, shelter and shadow, comfort and risk. Exactly the kind of place the giant knew best. Deeper in the forest, a low sound echoed, not loud, not threatening. A call, a signal. The herd stopped, listened, responded. Communication, simple but powerful. The Stegosaurus added its voice. A deep vibration carried through its chest, not meant for fear, but for unity. The forest heard. The herd understood. And they moved again, guided by voices older than memory. The sky darkened. Stars bled into view. Night crept in, soft as breath. The herd settled in a clearing, forming a loose circle. The Stegosaurus took position at the outer edge, the guardian's place. Its plates glowed faintly in the moonlight, casting shadows like broken towers across the ground. Predators moved differently at night. Quicker, bolder. But the giant stood ready, calm and unshaken, as the world dimmed around it. In the darkness, tiny lights flickered between the trees, insects glowing like drifting embers. They danced above the ferns, soft, gentle, ancient. The Stegosaurus watched them drift, their glow reflecting faintly on its plates. Even giants could appreciate small wonders. The forest came alive with quiet beauty. A reminder that this harsh world held moments of peace, even in its darkest hours. The herd rested. The night breathed. And the giant kept watch. Far beyond the clearing, a creature cried out, short, sharp, over quickly, a hunt, a kill, a reminder of the world's teeth. The herd stirred uneasily. The Stegosaurus didn't move. It listened, measured, understood. The danger was distant, not immediate, not yet. Not yet. But the cry lingered in the air, carrying fear through the trees like a cold wind. A warning that night was never safe. The shadows shifted. Not wind, not leaves, movement, slow, careful, almost respectful. The Stegosaurus turned slightly, plates shimmering in the faint starlight. A small predator, no larger than a dog, crept along the edge of the clearing, hungry, curious, but not foolish. It saw the giant, saw the spikes, saw the immovable calm, and it backed away, melting into the dark without a sound. Peace restored. Dawn crept over the horizon, painting the sky with soft gold. The forest warmed. Mist rose from the earth. Birds called out, one by one, welcoming the light. The herd lifted their heads, rested, quiet, alive. The Stegosaurus stretched its limbs, plates catching the first warmth of the new day. Night had passed safely. Morning had arrived, and the journey resumed. Young plants dotted the forest floor, tender shoots, unbitten leaves, soft stems. A feast. The herd spread out slightly, each giant taking slow bites, munching rhythmically. The Stegosaurus joined them, chewing with steady patience. Every mouthful brought strength. Every bite prepared them for the miles ahead. This world demanded energy, and the giants accepted the gift of the forest with quiet gratitude. A familiar scent drifted through the air, the faint musk of a predator. Not new, not fresh, but known. The same creature from the storm, the same one that fled with broken ribs. It had tracked them again, not for revenge, for survival. Wounded predators grow desperate, unpredictable, dangerous. The Stegosaurus stiffened. The herd tightened. The furist waited. Old threats seldom stay buried. From the undergrowth, a shape limped forward. Gaunt, exhausted, eyes dull with pain. The predator glared at the herd, struggling to breathe. It wanted a kill, needed a kill. But the last encounter had taken more than flesh. It had taken confidence. The Stegosaurus stepped forward, towering above the ferns, body steady. The predator backed away, fear overriding hunger. It would not try again. Its fight was over. The herd moved deeper into the green world, and the forest welcomed them. Branches arched overhead. Shade cooled their backs. Soft soil cushioned each heavy step. The Stegosaurus felt the shift, from danger to safety, from hunted to secure. This land was old, older than the giants themselves. It offered shelter, food, and quiet, a sanctuary carved by time. For now, the herd belonged here. Sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the ground. The plates on the Stegosaurus glowed again, warm, peaceful, calm. The herd settled near a cluster of ancient trees. Soft chatter of insects filled the air. The wind held a gentle touch, and the giants lowered themselves carefully, resting for the night. No predators stalked nearby. No danger whispered in the dark. Just the slow breathing of creatures built for endurance. As night deepened, the forest cooled, and the giant drifted into a half-sleep. Not dreaming, remembering, not moments from its life, but echoes of countless generations. Battles won, journeys survived, storms endured. Ancestral memories that guided every instinct. Knowledge passed not in words, but in bone. The Stegosaurus relaxed, comforted by a legacy older than the stars above.